Magnet television.
Magnet television.
Magnet television.
You're watching Magnet television because what else are you going to do?
Hey, this is Graham from Naked Giants, here with Magnet, and just saying hi. I'm going to answer some questions. So cheers.
Hey, this is Gianni. I'm from Naked Giants. Good to be here.
Hey, this is Henry, drummer for Naked Giants.
I'm going to have to go with Old Man by Neil Young. Really hard to choose, so I'm just going with my gut. I don't really have a favorite song, but I'm just going with that one. Old Man is amazing. It still gives me chills almost every time I listen to it, just the way he sings it and the message of the song, which to me is both about sharing wisdom. Like, I know that Neil Young moved to a ranch, and the old ranch owner who he bought the ranch from kind of showed him the ropes of how to run the ranch, from what I understand. So the wisdom was shared with Neil, and I think he had massive respect for this man's life's work that he was purchasing into. And I think the old man also had respect for Neil, even though he was a famous musician buying his ranch, and they connected. So I think there's a message of kind of timeless, ageless respect, sharing of knowledge and wisdom, and the way that time goes on. I mean, the amazing song. Just go listen to it. Listen to a live version of it. Old man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you. I need someone to hold me the whole day through. One look in my eyes and you can tell that's true. I mean, can you get any better than that? I mean, it's just an absolutely beautiful song. That's my pick.
My favorite song is called OLV26 by the band Stereolab. They're an awesome band that I've come to really appreciate over the past few years. That song in particular is it's really a synthesis of so many things. Lyrically, it's kind of about these false paradises that we build for ourselves, whether that's God or money or whatever, and it's really about like recognizing that as a fallacy and how true paradise is so behind us in the time before we were born, which is a pretty profound statement. And musically, it's this like surreal, droney, synthy kind of krautrock song, which actually I didn't realize this until later, but the main like synth riff is completely lifted from Autobahn by Kraftwerk, which is another great song, and it just takes that riff and like brings it into a whole new dimension. And there's this really awesome spacey jam out at the end with this like super delicate lead guitar. All the while there's this like raging kind of, sync shifting synth going on. It's a beautiful song, worth a listen, worth many listens.
Under Pressure by Queen featuring David Bowie, one of the best songs ever written.
Zuma by Neil Young. Yeah, I love the Neil. I got a tattoo of the album cover with Zuma right here. And I love that album. It changed my life for sure. Partially just because it was the first Neil Young album that I fell in love with, and Neil Young's music has changed my life. Secondly, the guitars on the album are incredible, so it really adjusted my thinking about lead guitar and rhythm guitar and how to pick. And Neil has just this really cool way of picking out rhythms on upbeats, and there's just a squealing lead tone, so I kind of tried to switch my tone up after that a little bit. The lyrics are incredible. To pick a few of my favorite songs off there, you got Cortez the Killer. Amazing song. Neil Young wrote most of this album while he was living on Zuma Beach. He mentions Montezuma in that song, and I thought that was a cool connection. Also, you got Danger Bird is a good example of the crazy leads. Man, that song is insane. Cool lyrics, reminds me of the cover, right? You got the bird. And you got Barstool Blues, which is kind of about a friend of Neil's. He says, once there was a friend of mine who died 1,000 deaths. His life was filled with parasites and countless idle threats. He trusted in a woman, and in her, he gave his best. Oh, I can't remember, but it's great, man. Go listen to it. There's also Pardon My Heart, which is a great love song, kind of about love that did not, that wasn't meant to be, and the way Neil words it is amazing. Pardon My Heart. Pardon My Heart. It says, I love you more than moments we ever have not shared. It's kind of about how love transcends, the relationship sometimes, and it's just a beautifully tender song. That album changed my life and my songwriting forever, and I love you, Neil.
An album that really changed things for me was the self-titled first album by Os Mutantes. The music is just so kind of effortlessly creative and really experimental, and it's like these strange kind of playful sound paintings, and it really, for me, it opened my eyes to listening to music in languages that I don't understand, which it's really easy to get stuck into just listening to American music and English music, but I just realized I was missing out on so much.
The album that changed my life, I'd have to say, is the self-titled album, Blink-182, 2003. Possibly the best recorded drum sounds I've ever heard in my life, and I used to listen to it every day walking to school in 8th grade, and just totally gave me a voice that I was looking to hear. And the drum parts on it are so, so rockin'. Very creative, very hard-hitting, and they really started to use sub bass in some of the drops, which was something I had not heard in rock, pop punk music. So it's just great.
This benefit concert called Smash that my bandmates and I played. And it was a benefit for Seattle musicians' access to affordable healthcare, which is great. So that's one good reason. And it's going to make sense in the context of my other questions that I love Neil Young, and this benefit concert was a bunch of great musicians all covering Neil Young songs. So you can see why I might have loved that. Another reason to mention the musicians I was playing alongside and with were some legends. I mean, Dave Matthews, Kim Thayil from Soundgarden, Matt Cameron, who was the Soundgarden drummer and Pearl Jam drummer. There was a lot more that I'm not going to go list them all and brag about it, but it was really awesome. My bandmates and I covered the song Tonight's the Night, which is another fantastic Neil Young song. Bruce Berry was a working man. He used to load that Econoline van, man. So we covered that. I really got into my Neil zone with that. That was a blast. And then I got to rip some solos and sing on Like a Hurricane, which is off arguably my favorite Neil Young album overall, to be honest, which is American Stars and Bars. That song's amazing. You Are Like a Hurricane. I mean, come on. So I got to rip solos next to Dave Matthews, like with Dave Matthews. And I think it was super gratifying for me as a musician, that whole show, because I was kind of taken as an equal with these legends. You know, not to say that I'm anywhere near their level, but to be taken seriously and respected by people, you know, you looked up to and heard about your entire adolescence and childhood, and you know, to finally have that experience of being with them on stage and being a peer and being able to talk to them. Dave Matthews changed his shirt in front of me. Attractive guy. That was great. It was super gratifying. I loved it, and I will always remember that as an amazing moment in time. Greatest show ever. Hell yeah.
There have been a few times when I've just been like, whoa, this is an amazing concert. Kind of like, while it's happening. Recently, I got to see Sasami at Barboza in Seattle, and I really, really loved the album that she put out last year. And then when seeing her and her band play live, it just like kind of exploded into this different dimension that I didn't even know existed. And so that was really awesome. There's a local band called the Fabulous Downey Brothers, who we've actually worked with a few times. Sean Downey has directed a few of our music videos, and we've played many shows with Liam in various bands. But every time I see Fabulous Downey Brothers, I always leave like thoroughly inspired and confused. And lastly, I gotta say, we played Bumbershoot, which is a music festival here in Seattle a few years ago, and someone who also played Bumbershoot was none other than Billy Idol, who, you know, I know the hits, but gosh darn, that guy can put on a show. That was one of the most surreal and intense concert experiences I've ever seen. And you know, since we played the festival, we got to see it from side stage, and like just had this uninterrupted view of his rugged glory. Yeah, excellent performer, great music. Steve Stevens shreds so hard. Those are three standout concerts.
Well, I could say the best festival I've ever participated in is Doe Bay Fest, hands down, 2016. Every moment of that festival, there is a memory being created somewhere, and every single person at the festival looks at you and says hello, and you feel seen and heard, and it's a really safe and creative space. So Doe Bay Fest.
Well, this is a doozy. I'd say number one probably would be this concert I was playing with Car Seat Headrest when we were part of their backing band. And my guitar strap, I guess, was just a little loose. I didn't have strap locks or anything. And in the middle of a very quiet, intimate section of the song, my guitar not only got loose and fell, and I grabbed it, it completely fell straight to the ground in front of me, onto my pedals, and caused all this squealing and noises, right as, you know, Will, the singer, was singing an intimate part of the song, and I had to recover quickly. And unlike some other moments that were kind of embarrassing, which usually end up being fine, like times where I make a really bad squealing noise or mess up a lyric or forget to come in at the right time, like, that's all stuff that I whatever, you know, just happens. It's part of being a musician, and you hopefully make mistakes less and less the better and older you get. But that particular circumstance of it just falling right off me, and I just was kind of speechless. So I stood there for a moment as I was also scrambling. it was embarrassing, and I don't think anyone commented on it. So thanks everybody for not making fun of me, but it happens. It happens to the best of us, I'd say. So all in all, I'm not the most embarrassed guy. Sometimes we all are, but that was embarrassing. So that's that. Thank you.
My most embarrassing musical moment was this always happens. A few years ago, we played this like radio gig in Nashville, and it was at this bar/venue that also turns into a church on Sundays. And I remember the show was being broadcast live on air, and so our manager was there, and the guy who does radio at our label was there, and I remember them specifically saying, like, okay, this is live on air, so just don't cuss, like, don't swear, and you'll be fine. And I was like, cool, got it. And we got to, at that time, we were playing this song called The Age of Information, which is very, that was our first foray into, like, actually writing about, like, things that are going on politically and, like, how fucked up our country is. And so in the beginning of that song, I kind of just like bring up that kind of stuff, you know, like, and I just kept saying, I kept saying how fucked up this country is. And then our manager came running to the stage from the back of the venue, which was not, it was like, there were not a lot of people there. So, like, she came running through an empty space up to the front of the stage and was like, no! But, you know, the damage was done. And after the show, I remember just walking up to them so sheepishly and just kind of begging for forgiveness. Yeah, I got a lot of finger wags for that one. But, you know, you gotta speak the truth, you know?
Well, I'll tell you one continuous embarrassing musical moment is anytime that you're going on after a band and your snare drum snares are turned off, and that is always embarrassing, but always funny, and you always get a little look from the other musicians, so that's always a fun one.
This is Grant from Naked Giants, and you're watching Magnet Television. Hell yeah.
This is Gianni from Naked Giants. You're watching Magnet Television. See you later.
This is Henry LaVallee from Naked Giants, and you are watching Magnet Television. Enjoy your day.
Cine.